Welcome to the world of Jones Knows. Today I'm going to show you how to do quarter round in half the time without the use of a saw. Sound too good to be true? Find out today on Jones Knows.
It's so beautiful, you and me, we meant to be.
Hi, my name is Tim. I'm a flooring and stair contractor, and as usual, helping me in the videos are my sons Tristan and Hunter. Today I'm going to show you a product that has meant a lot to me over the years. I use it on all my jobs. Since I started using this product, I felt like I have a safer job site. I felt like we got the job done quicker and without making a mess. So today I'm going to show you how I do quarter round in half the time without having to use a saw with the quarter round scissors. I'm going to show you two pairs of scissors. I'm going to show you the Crane, which have always been the ones that I've used, and we're going to put them head to head against one of the leading generics sold on Amazon. We'll call it the red handle scissors. I'll put the link to both these products in the description below so that you can see exactly what products we're talking about, as well as the nailer that we're using. So first we're going to show you the generic one. And to do this today, I spared no expense. I brought in a true master of his trade, a real perfectionist. He goes by many names, from the King of Cut to the Master of Miter to Magic Miter, which is my favorite. Don't worry, he's not going to do a dance.
Perfect.
Maybe. My favorite name that I call him is Hunter, my son. So he truly is an exceptional trim guy, and this way I can focus on filming today. So here's my son. Let's go ahead and hit it. Looks like my son's not going to get much exercise today. We're working in an office building, and normally we'd have to set up a saw downstairs since we're working on the second floor and do all our cutting downstairs and be back and forth to the saw all day. But the nice thing about the scissors, we're going to do all of our cutting in place, and he won't have to leave this room until he's finished. Here we are with a nice 45 cut. I see, since this is a generic scissor here, that he does have to cut it a couple times to get it as precise as he likes. Our straight cuts come out pretty nice as well. The 45, he takes his time, and when he puts it in to meet the last piece, looks like it comes out as tight as you could expect it to be, even if you were using a saw. I don't think you could get any tighter than that. If you notice, he actually uses the scissor head to mark his trim, so he doesn't have to use a pencil or anything to leave any extra marks on the trim. He just uses the head, put a little mark on it, and then he makes his cut. So it's one less step, which is nice. And now he's going to do a return, which this takes a lot of precision. It's a two-piece move here, where he cuts an outside 45 and then adds the little return piece to the end. Looks like that came out really nice. We'll have multiple returns in this area here. You notice another one there. And then here we go again. Cuts it on the outside 45. See, it looks like it came out perfect there, and then he'll make the little piece to finish the return off, and that's pretty nice. Now it's just a matter of nailing it in with our DeWalt nailer, and then I'll finish it off with a nice siliconized caulk. I like siliconized caulk because it helps to hold the returns in, and it also covers nail holes, and it does not slump as much as the pure latex caulk. And we'll be all done with this room. It looks like the generic scissors have done a really nice job. That might not be for everyone. Some people have a hard time accepting new tools. They're not for some of the people that are set in their ways, that want to walk back and forth to a saw, that maybe you don't have anything better to do with your time. But for me, time is money, and time spent with family is better than spent doing quarter round, especially. Like I said, I put the link for these products in the description below. Well, that came out pretty good. But it's time for the champ. It's time for the more expensive, my favorite. Let's go ahead and hit it with the crane. So we start out with a return as our first cut here. A return is nothing more than an outside 45 followed with a second piece added to it, which we just take a straight end and cut it at a 45. And that gives us our piece. And that gives a nice finished look around door casings. So here's a standard inside corner. We're doing a 45 there. You notice what tools he's not using today. It's a tape measure or a pencil. So we're going to eliminate both of those tools. We just need the scissors and our trim. When he wants to mark a trim piece, he just uses the scissor blade as his pencil. It puts a very precise mark on the trim, and then he cuts at that blade mark. Makes things go really smooth, and it eliminates having to stop, mark it, pick it back up again. We just let the pieces overlap and mark them where they overlap with the blade, and then we cut them on that line and then move on. It's a really efficient way to do quarter round, especially since you're right there after you make the cut. If you're not happy with how it came out, you can just recut it. You might be a little hesitant to walk all the way back to a saw to recut it, but since you're there, it makes it a lot easier just to redo that cut. A trick to getting trim to fit nice and tight is to mark your pieces just a blade long. That way when you go to install them, you actually have to force them together. You want a little pressure on them when you nail them in. If they're loose, then they're gonna look loose. There's only two main cuts when you're doing quarter round, unless you have some crazy angles. An outside 45 and an inside 45. So when you're cutting the quarter round, you just put it up against the fence on the scissors, and they do all the work. To make your job even easier, I recommend getting an MDF quarter round. It cuts easier, and it also bends to the shape of the floor and eliminates a lot of spacing under the quarter round. Remember, no trim job is complete until you caulk and paint your quarter round. I like to use a siliconized caulk because it also acts as an adhesive and holds in all of our return pieces. But keep in mind when you're caulking, you always want to have a wet rag with you to wipe off all the excess, because if you leave excess caulking on your trim, you may see it through the paint. Each of these rooms took about 10 minutes from start to finish, between cutting the quarter round, nailing it, and caulking it. So between the two rooms, we're looking at 20 minutes and 150 feet of quarter round. These scissors save me hours each week that I can now spend watching YouTube. Wow, so both of those scissors did an amazing job. You can see there's no gaps, super tight. Finishing it off with a DeWalt nailer today. To me, that is the winning combination, the scissors with the nailer. It's a no-brainer because you don't have a loud compressor hoses dragging across the job site. So what I noticed from looking at the two head-to-head, if you noticed with the crane, it's a little bit less effort. On the first video, you saw him recutting. He was actually cutting a couple times to get that cut exactly the way he wanted it. Whereas with the crane, it was like first time, bam, put it down. So it was a little bit quicker. They have a longer handle, and with that longer handle on the crane, it's a little less effort. It kind of cuts right through on the first time. No recutting or cutting a second time to get it perfect. So they definitely do a better job. As far as quality-wise, there's not a whole lot of difference. Once he took the time to get them right, I guess with the crane, if you're going to do anything like pine or a thicker, like we were doing MDF wood today, so those cut really easy. But if we were doing pine or something like that, I definitely would want it to be the crane without any doubt, because the longer handle cuts through a lot easier. But the other one, if you're just doing a small little bedroom, I would maybe go with the other one. I think that'd be fine. A whole house, or if you're an installer and you want to use them all the time, without any doubt, invest a little bit extra in a crane and you won't regret it. They're definitely a quality tool. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it useful and informative. Be sure to check out some of our other content. We have lots of great videos on how to flooring, stairs, and more, as well as my favorite, our product reviews, where we put laminate head-to-head against vinyl and vinyl head-to-head against other vinyls. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you take out your favorite flooring mallet, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. Thanks for joining us today.